Recording is on.
Okay, good morning, Win. Thank you so much for being here. And now
Well, thank you for inviting.
Okay, thank you. There is a lot of questions because my main focus here, you do much thing, but you also focus on therapy, couple therapy, yes? Couple therapy.
Yes, that's my specialty.
That's your
I'm a
specialty?
couple therapist.
Okay.
That's my
So before we start deep diving, just a few questions. Do you know what is a twin flame relationship? You heard about twin flames?
I'm aware of it. I heard of it,
Mhm.
but I'm curious to know your understanding
Yes.
of that.
Okay, I will tell a bit of my experience. A twin flame relationship is a twin flame normally between a woman and a man, but he unfortunately is not a romantic one. More or less it's a long distance relationship. Starts a very long distance relationship, and there are several I would call it traumas like ghosting, gaslighting, and so on. So the twin flame relationship, it's like a process to spiritual awakening. Like the other the other person, man or woman, is like a mirror to us. You know, our shadow works to do our shadow works to work in ourselves.
Yes.
That's a twin flame relationship.
Practicing partners.
Okay, so
Practicing partners.
okay,
Yeah.
so how do you help couples to get along together? What is your main techniques?
So, well, let me reflect back what I heard from you, your understanding of twin flames, because everybody has their own understanding. So for you, it's between a heterosexual man and heterosexual woman, and it's long distance, so they're not physically in the same space.
Not in the same
But they
space.
have a strong but they have a strong emotional and spiritual connection.
Exactly.
So the goal, right? The implicit goal of this relationship is to grow. So you feel you're mirrored by the other person mirrors you to see your shadows and what we call in psychology project onto the other person.
Yes.
And then you learn, oh, that's part of me I want to take back and claim, so you can be more whole, you're more integrated by being in this relationship, and you feel a strong attraction and pull to each other. And it sounds like it doesn't end with being together, harmoniously living for the rest of your life, more like a time period that you'll go through with each other.
Perfect, because the main goal of a twin flame is not the reunion. That's the bad understanding of the internet. Most people on the internet and Google and YouTube, oh, twin flame, I will marry my twin flame. No, you will never meet, you never.
We'll be together forever, happily thereafter.
Never. The main purpose of a twin flame is spiritual awakening, is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge.
Yes. Now I know what you're talking about, twin flame. I've experienced that, and I've seen my clients going through that. And I agree with you. It is about spiritual awakening, about being more whole ourselves. So that I can tell you more about the difference, I think, between attraction and compatibility and attachment. That's a very different concept. People tend to confuse those concepts.
Exactly. Perfect. So in your day-to-day life, your clients, what kind of clients you have? You have twin flame clients, you have any kind of clients. What are the main, what you do in your day-to-day work in the therapy couple?
Yes. So people come to me, tend to be very stuck in their romantic relationships. Sometimes they haven't been married, they've been dating for quite a period of time, or even shorter period of time. They feel this strong attraction to each other. Very likely they just passed the honeymoon period, we say, and they start to get into more power struggle. It's a fighting stage that every relationship go through, and they don't have the tools and resources to resolve that, and they end up either pursuing each other, getting into really explosive escalations, or one person pursue, the other person runs away. That's what called pursuer withdrawer dynamic. And they're both feeling suffering so much, right? They don't get what they really want. They both want connection, but somehow they don't know how to connect with each other. They end up always being in disconnection, and their nervous system are racked, and they can't sleep, they can't eat well, and they're always constantly hyper vigilant. So that could be the couple that's been together for, say, 20, 30 years in their marriage, or not even married, but already getting to this strong, not very functional dance, I'd say.
In your experience, what is the main driver of a long-term relationship between a man and a woman? It's physical attraction, or it's friendship, or it's both, or it's spirituality? What is the main goal that keep a couple together for long time?
That's a very good question. I really have to say it depends on the couple. For some of them, more and more I see, especially younger couples, they really want companionship and friendship. Interpersonally, they want the other person to have their back. They want to be supported emotionally. They want a vulnerable conversation and to have deep emotional connection. And there are some of the financial too, two people pull their resources together to make it easier, especially I live in the Bay Area for the most of the time, and it's very pricey. So people pull their resources to have a better quality of life. And there few of my couples start to have more spiritual awakening. At least one of them want a spiritual connection. But a majority of the couples actually still wanted to sustain their life by making the day-to-day operation of their relationship work, like taking care of children, managing finances, and having good sexual life, and to enjoy each other's company and have some common interest.
Here in Portugal, I have I know, because I know older people than me that they have cancer prostate. You know what is cancer prostate? And they don't have
Cancer,
any sexual relationship, but yet the
right? They have,
marriage is still going on. So it's possible to keep a
yeah.
marriage even without sex. Yes.
Absolutely. Their clients are asexual. There are people naturally asexual. There's a whole spectrum of sexuality, right? So, and they're also in the Bay Area, polyamorous relationships are very popular. So one person can have a partner just purely companionship and romantic, but not sexual, and have sexual relationship with other people. It really depends on everybody's understanding and their agreement.
Okay. So, what is your main purpose? You put the couples talking to each other. What is your technique? What is your main techniques? Okay.
Oh, that's a big question, So I'm trained in different modalities. I was trained in emotional focus therapy, in developmental model, and system center therapy. And also, I went to graduate school to study somatic psychology, which is to study the connection between the body and the mind. So I use all of them in my work with my clients. And so what I do is I trust my intuition in the moment. What rabbit I pull out from my bag, and to attune to my clients. And if it doesn't work, I drop it, and then we'll try something else. But my way of thinking is very much system oriented. So I tell my clients from the very beginning, even during consultation, that not the problem. You're not the problem. I'm not here to fix any one of you. I'm seeing the dynamic, what's not working, and then I tell you, I'll describe to you, oh, this is what you do, then they do this, and then you back do this, and then you just keep repeating and you're stuck. I tell them what that is, and I work with each of them to motivate them to see their part in their dynamic, the dance. Do you move your foot this way and step on the other person? Can you maybe step back a little bit? Can you maybe pace yourself so you're on the same rhythm, so you can have a beautiful dance together, really enjoy it together, instead of doing exactly what you know how to do but not really working?
This is very interesting questions because there are a lot of questions, and from your experience, there is any chance to save a marriage when only one person likes and the other not doesn't finish to like? What, it's impossible to save all marriage, yes?
Um, well, I'm not here to save marriages, number one.
Okay.
I go I go through this process to of discernment with my clients. From the very beginning, I will observe. I will see how much energy each person put into it. When during my one-on-one session with them, I ask all kind of questions to assess how much energy they still want to put in the relationship. Are they say 80% in, or they only 20% in? If one person is 20%, the other is 80%, it's really hard to make the change, because one person will more likely to do something to change themselves, and the other person just will kind of go with the ride, right? And it creates this imbalance. And also, you probably know this, you cannot make a relationship work if the other person does not want it. Well, the tricky question is, a lot of times people were ambivalent. They have a part of them, they want a relationship, they don't want to go out and find someone else because it's too difficult. It's been a long time. They feel they're not as attractive. They can't find anybody better. And the other part of them just want something better. There's like this relationship is painful and suffering for me. I want someone who's different. And they hope that being in a relation with somebody else will make everything just magically better. But if they do not change, they will attract the same kind of people and the same kind of dynamic, right? So it's very tricky. I leave it. Yeah.
Very tricky, yes, very, very tricky. Because there are several problems. For example, I myself, 20 years ago, 25, I suffer from emotional dependence. You know what is emotional dependence?
Yeah. Yes, we call it codependence.
Codependence, yeah. Exactly. It's very, very, very hurtful and very painful.
Yes.
But we learn. We have to learn. Sooner or later, we have to learn. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And from a spiritual point of view, do you think that the ego plays a fundamental role in the relationship? The ego. Understand what I'm calling the ego? Yes.
Yes. I know what you're saying. So here you call it the ego. In my line of work or theory, we call it person-centered. Mm-hmm. That means you only think about you, your benefit, your interest, mm-hmm. how to get your needs met. You do not see the larger system like you're in with this person, how your behavior will impact the other person, how if you can build a climate in your relationship that benefits both of you, right? If both people are very selfish, self-centered, right, they only think about them, very likely they will quarrel. Like, for example, doing dishes. If none of them like to do dishes, they just want the other person to do dishes after a meal. They just sit there and they will be fighting about it every day. I see couples fighting about it after 20, 30 years. They haven't resolved that one issue. It's just a sign that they're not thinking about their whole system.
Another tricky question, because how... Okay, it's dependent, of course, but there is no magic formula to keep a marriage going. There is no magic formula. Yes,
there is a magic formula. There is.
There is.
I Yeah, there is. I used to believe there's no magic formula, but now the more people I see, and the more reflection I do, and the more spiritually I grow, I really see a formula. So the formula is number one: always go back to yourself. Go to your body first. Ask yourself what is true to you. And if you're hyper vigilant, aroused, calm your nervous system down. Before you say anything, do anything, go back to yourself. Ask you, what do I want right now? Do I want a cup of tea? Do I want to take a walk? Do I want to pet my cat? Do I want to look at the birds outside? What do I do to make myself feel calmer and more be in my body? You're a spiritual person, so you know that our soul is residing in our body most of the time. But when we are very distressed, sometimes it leaves. So we want to go back to our body, and we want to be aligned with ourselves first. And then hopefully your partner is doing the same, and you wait until they're ready to connect with you. You wait until they're in their body, and then you connect, you reach out, you connect with them saying, hey, I want connection. Tell them exactly what you want in very simple words. No blaming, no criticizing. Don't make it about them, make it about you. Say, I feel sad when we are not connecting. I would love to hold your hand right now. Are you okay with that? And if the other person say, no, I don't want to hold your hand right now, say, okay, I acknowledge that. Maybe we can do that later, but I just want to let you know I want a connection with you. And then you know, if the other person keeps saying no, maybe this is not a relationship you want to be in. Maybe they're not ready to be in a relationship with you and connect in that way, right? But you start from yourself. Calm yourself down. Go back into your body. Get in touch with what you want and your desire, which is really hard work. It's not easy at all to get in touch with your desire and speak from that place, that tender place, to the other person. And I think if the other person is on the same wavelength with you, they have the capacity to do that, you will build a beautiful relationship. You will have a lot of ruptures for sure, because people are different, but you will build a beautiful relationship.
Yes, perfect.
So
Because
that's my
yes, you are very, very correct and right. Because here in Portugal, now it's since 10 years ago, the psychiatrists tell the most important thing for the couple is to not have any secrets, to put all the emotions and to talk with each other. No secrets, all the emotions, no hiding, so the couple can know each other's. You agree with that?
I'm not quite sure. As a couple therapist, I'm all for talking about feelings. But the no secret policy is very tricky.
Why? Why?
We all want to
Why? It's very tricky.
yeah.
Please explain us. Explain us.
Yes. So see, we ever since childhood, I have young children, they're 8-year-old. They want to keep something to themselves. It's just a human nature. We want to keep something just for us. Certain things, either we do not want to share or we're not ready to share in that moment. One shares when you feel safe. So if you just rip people apart and make them expose themselves, every single piece of them, they will feel very unsafe. So it really depends on the timing and how, and if the environment is safe enough for them to share. Emotions, basic emotions, you probably know the 5 basic emotions, generally is a good place for people to connect. People don't connect from thoughts because we have different opinions and you just get into like debate, right? So that's the old therapist to track down to their emotions and connect there, because we can connect from there. Everybody gets sad and angry sometimes, right? But it's tricky is the information that you have about your deepest desires and fantasies, for actual fantasies. Some of them you may want to share with your partner, and some of them you may not want to share. You just want to keep it to yourself and entertain yourself, which is not part of the relationship yet. You don't know in the future if you want to share or not. But in that moment, maybe you don't feel safe. Maybe you're afraid the other person will judge you, will criticize you, will leave you. And we're all in for the relationship security. So it makes sense. There's a part of them want to protect them in that moment. So it takes time for people to trust the other person. That makes sense, right? It through repetitive experience, you see, are you always being open and supportive when I share something? And then you, over time, you start to relax, you share more. You don't just come in and say, let me tell you all about my fantasies. Like, what if the other person is like, yuck?
Exactly. It's like in spirituality, we say healthy boundaries. Boundaries, yes? Put healthy boundaries.
Boundary. Yes. And boundary is also a very interesting thing, isn't it? So some people really use boundary as a control mechanism. They'll say, this is my boundary. This is the way things are supposed to be done. And if you don't do it my way, you're wrong, or you're out, or you're not respecting me. So that's also very tricky. The boundary thing.
You are right, because here in Portugal, we have a Christian with education, Christian, very Orthodox
Christian,
Christian.
yep.
And
Yes.
there is a, I don't know if it's right or wrong, I'm not judging, but there is, in the marriage, there is, how we call it in Portuguese, is we have to sacrifice ourselves to the other partner. But I think it's not,
Oh,
is not okay. Sacrificing yourself to the other partner.
long-term ways. Yes, long-term. I'm actually quite familiar with that, Nunu. I was married to a Portuguese man.
Yes. Oh,
So,
I don't know. Okay.
yeah, I was married to a Portuguese man, and so my children are mixed, Chinese Portuguese mixed. And I've been to Portugal many times. I noticed that, especially in women. I noticed the Portuguese women tend to really sacrifice. One example I had is Mother's Day. Everybody else told me you need to be with your children. It's Mother's Day. I'm like, no. Mother's Day, I'm doing something with my girlfriends to celebrate being a mother, go to a spa or something. It's for me, right? So there's such like a culture difference there. Like women, especially women, I notice it's all about the family, the household. That there's not a strong sense of self for being who you are as an individual, right? And I can understand that. In Chinese culture, traditionally, it's very similar. So the boundary, why I say it's tricky is there's a physical boundary, right? Like I notice Portuguese people are very touchy. In my culture, Chinese culture, we're not. So there's a physical boundary that we have different ideas and standards, what is okay, right? There's also emotional boundary. Like Chinese tend to be more private with our emotions. We're reserved, so we don't talk as much. It took me a long time to get in touch with my feelings and talk about my feelings, right? In my field, and I think Portuguese might not be used to talk about feelings, but nowadays sounds like there are more talking about your feelings in the psychology field, right? But there's also this thing, you can call it spiritual boundary, that I believe is to respect the other person's whole being and their whole life spiritual experience. For example, if I have a moment of spiritual experience by being in nature, listen to the birds and looking at the trees and connecting and getting in touch with me being the whole one with the world. And if my partner is not in that place and they come in, keep interacting me, that is a violation of boundary in some way. But they want attention. It's like, oh, we're on a family trip. You need to pay attention to me and the children. Why can't you do things with us? Why are you being alone in there, right? It's interrupting my spiritual boundary in some way. And all of those can be negotiated, right? Like we're all beings that made of energy in some way. So how do we give energy to each other can be negotiated. You can say, oh, in that moment, I prefer to be in one with nature and connect in the non-verbal way. And that's very important to me. Doesn't mean I don't love you. I don't want to be a mother and a wife, being in that realm. In this moment, I prefer to be in this realm, in this role. And then once I finish this, I will connect with you in the activity, in the role as a wife and a mother. So there's a lot of negotiation. And so what I think people are afraid a lot of times by establishing really strong and rigid boundaries, they're afraid of losing themselves. They're afraid if I don't have this boundary, I cannot tell you and me apart anymore. I'll lose myself. See, from a spiritual perspective, you can't lose yourself. You're always part of everybody, right? We're breathing the same air. There are molecules going over all the time. So you can't lose yourself, but it's a sense that we don't feel safe when we don't get in touch with our, you can call ego or whatever your role you're in. And that's modulated with the people around you.
And another, I think, is the last question because you have something to do with the work. And this is the last question. Do you think it's possible someone to love another, but their ego is so strong that that person will not admit that she or he loves another? It's possible?
Oh, yeah. So someone who loves someone so strongly, but they don't want to admit it. Oh, I'm curious, like what's the downside of admitting you love someone?
It's some kind of narcissistic, afraid of losing control.
Ah, okay. So that's an interesting question too, because I tend to have an opinion or view on love that might be different from a lot of people. I hear people say, I love you, and for me, what they really mean is I'm attached to you. That my body is so used to your presence, your scent, and how I feel in the presence of you. It's almost like a drug that I want to have that more and make me feel good. For me, that's very similar to doing yoga, and having a good meditation practice. You get a pleasure, right? You get that ease, the pleasure. For some people, it's the dopamine hit, like eating chocolate. That's one pleasure. For me, is the more that the ease, the relaxation, being with someone, more oxytocin, right? So either way, you are used to that sensation while you are around that person doing something together, and you want more of that. For me, that's attachment. That is not love. Love for me is when I see someone, their essence, that, oh, this is who you are. You're just like me, a human being, that you have emotions, you suffer, just like me. When I start to see that of the other person, they show me that side of them, I feel so much love and compassion for them. I feel really connected with them. And for me, that is love. And love, it's a door for me. Once it's open, it doesn't close. You cannot unlearn the other person. You cannot unlove the other person. They can do things to upset you, but they still being who they are as a human being, just like us, with flaws. So a lot of time, I think people are talking about attachment. They don't want to admit they are attached to someone because they're afraid the other person pull it away. And then they have this like withdrawal symptoms, like, oh, I'm losing the object of my attachment, just like kids will protest, right? People protest by either stonewalling or they pursue, or they go in between, right? That's insecure attachment. So yeah, so not